This is role play 2, which is Simon. Hi, Simon. How are you?
Maria, hi. How are you? I'm really good, thank you.
That's good. I'm glad. How have you gone throughout the week?
Oh, Maria, you'll never guess what happened.
What happened?
Maria, I asked Nina out on a date.
And?
She said yes.
Woohoo!
Thank you.
Well done.
So, yes, I'm taking you out for Saturday night.
Yes.
To see dinner and a movie.
Perfect.
But I'm still worried and I'm still a little bit anxious about being alone with her.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying that, Maria, is that I'm worried I'm going to say something stupid in front of her, and it just seems like my heart starts beating really fast when I'm around people, and I'm worried that she's going to hear it and I'm going to say something really, really stupid. She's going to think that I'm really clingy.
Okay.
So hopefully you can help me with that.
Yep. Okay. So, is still your anxiety?
Yeah, and probably the best way that I can explain it, sometimes my tongue gets mumbled up.
Yep.
And it doesn't say what my brain wants to say, and I stumble over my words sometimes. And I just don't want to do that with Nina because I really like her.
Do you know what? I think most people, when they get nervous and feel a bit anxious, will often stumble over their words.
Yeah, it especially happens for me around girls, Maria.
I don't think that's an uncommon thing.
Yeah, it happens when I'm around you too, Maria.
So since last week, the strategies that we sort of put in place was you're going to do some practicing in the mirror when it comes to you asking Nina on a date. How did you go with that?
Yeah, I did that, and I also spoke to my friends.
Yeah.
And I asked them what they think about me, and they said that I'm clever and I have witty conversations, and they like talking to me too, Maria.
That's wonderful.
But yes, it's just that my dating has been very, very limited.
Mm.
I did date a girl in the past.
Yep.
And she thought I was very clingy.
Okay.
And she also started a nasty rumour about me that I wouldn't take no for an answer. Her name was Michaela, and that was pretty upsetting, and I'm just worried that that's going to happen with Nina when I go on a date with her, that she thinks I'm clingy and I don't take no for an answer.
Fair enough.
So I used to walk Michaela home from school, and I used to buy her lots of gifts.
Yep.
And I spoke to her on the phone almost every night. And after 2 months after that, Maria, she broke up with me saying that I was too clingy. I was devastated and rejected by that. And I'm really concerned that Nina will think that I'm clingy and stalkerish as well. So I just need to act in the right way around her. I just think it's my lack of experience in dating and that I'm shy around girls, and I just want to make a good impression.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can you give me any advice or help on how to deal with that, Maria?
Absolutely, okay. I think the first thing is, how about just being yourself? Just being...
Yeah, I'll try that, but that's when I get anxious and I can hear my heart beating, and I think everyone can hear it.
No one else can hear it for a start, because as you speak, the anxiety really doesn't quite show in your words.
Yes, and it's very true when I get to know people, and I don't get as anxious.
Absolutely.
Like my friends, they like me.
Absolutely. There's a lot to like.
Thank you, Maria.
My pleasure. We would like to suggest to you is have a little bit of a think about who you are. What are the sorts of things that I like, that some of your interests, things that you can actually talk about with her. Because it's a way of her then getting to know you, yet you can feel comfortable enough to be able to talk about some things or topics that you actually feel quite comfortable in. And do you know what? From a girl's point of view, girls don't mind if you say, look, I'm just feeling a little bit nervous and things like that, because more often than not, they are as well.
But at least she said yes.
Absolutely.
So if she didn't like me, she would have said no, Maria.
Absolutely, she would have. So just go in and be yourself, but perhaps just take a moment to be able to think about what you want to say or what you're going to say before you say it. So just take your time and
Take a breath.
Just breathe. All right? And if you just go in with that cool, calm, collected sort of approach, maybe you could do a little bit of practicing of that during the week.
In the mirror?
Absolutely.
Or maybe one of my friends. They could pretend to be Nina.
Could very well too. Because role playing is just about building confidence, and it's about just coming up with some different scenarios. And how would I then cope with that scenario? And from a friend, well, friends will often give you really good, relevant feedback as well because they want to see you doing well as well.
I'm very excited for Saturday night, Maria.
I bet you are. So you should be.
Thank you.
Surely you should be. And have you been able to also explore any mindfulness activities or exercises?
Yes,
that
Maria.
we agreed
The mindfulness made me ask it on a date.
So what did you decide to do?
I went home and I meditated. And I got the mindfulness app and I listened to dolphins making the noises, and I became very relaxed. And I stand in front of the mirror and I pretended that the mirror was Nina, and I asked her on a date and she said yes.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Maria.
So have you started incorporating any of the mindfulness just from a relaxation point of view for those times where you do feel anxious?
Yes, that helps too.
And I think what would be a good idea is to start looking at some of the triggers of the anxiety, so you can recognise those triggers, and then what can we then do?
The triggers are meeting new people for the first time.
Yeah. Okay. So so perhaps next week, because we are about to wrap up in the next couple of minutes, we could look at doing some strategies about meeting people and being able to do it in a more comfortable and perhaps a more confident way for you.
I'll do that.
So your homework for the week is those times where you get anxious, actually write them down.
All right, I'll write this down.
All right.
I'm writing my homework down. Thank you.
Yes. So triggers, and just write them down. Okay. Because there's often quite a theme that will go into that. Prepare yourself when you have your date with Nina.
Yes, Maria.
Make sure you're just really nice, cool, calm, and collect. Don't overthink. Don't overanalyze. But just go in with the intention of that you're going to be your true self.
And I won't act clingy.
Well, no. But then that could also be just somebody else's interpretation, and it's actually not what you're actually doing.
All right, Maria. Thank you for your advice as always.
My pleasure.
All right. See you next week.
All right. See you next week.
Bye, Maria.
Now, if you can just practice on those couple of things during the week, which would be really good, which was your triggers.
Yep.
Do some mirror practicing or with your friends, and some different scenarios on the date, and some topics that you'd like to talk about on the date.
Okay. And I'll pay your receptionist on the way out.
That would be wonderful.
All right. Thank you, Maria. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
That one.
Okay, after doing the role plays, I think there's still a lot of things that I could essentially keep improving on. But I think I need to get to that point of being able to establish more of a case plan, sort of moving forward with all the role plays. Although with Michelle, I think there's a couple of therapies that I could then bring into play, which is the solution-based therapy, cognitive behavioural therapy, and just behavioural therapy as far as creating consistent patterns over time, which would only be able to help her with all her commitments that she has to do. But also the solution-based theory, where could do miracle questions and sort of really get down to what works, what doesn't work, more probably from a real routine basis. But also that cognitive behavioural therapy from a problem solving and being able to prioritise. But I think from the general sort of talking, listening, and those sorts of aspects have somewhat somewhat improved. I've just found that this assessment is a little bit overwhelming, and I think because there's a bit to it. But But I think what went well was just the way that I would initially interact and make them feel comfortable. Um, and I think just learning about how to bring different theories more so into play early on, more than anything else, I think.